Hey OT lovers.
Hi.
And non-OT lovers who are here for the first time, welcome aboard this train.
Yeah. And due to popular demand, today we're going to be sharing our PR story with you. So how we started the PR process, how the application journey was like, and how we finally made it here to Canada.
Yeah, so keep watching.
Yeah, so stay tuned. So we've prepared an outline of every step we took like during our process, and we have it all here.
Yeah, so you guys need to take your pen and your paper so you can jot things down. So okay, where do we start? So
Okay, let me facilitate this session.
Yeah.
So I'm interviewing you now. So how and when did you decide that you wanted to move to Canada?
First of all, like for a long time, I've always felt kind of disconnected from Nigeria in the sense that, I always knew or I always wanted to end up outside the country. Like I always wanted to have my life outside of the country as an adult, and it's something that had been in my mind for a very long time. When we were in secondary school, going into uni, a lot of our friends traveled abroad, to school, and some of them came back, and the whole process got me thinking, that if I'm going to leave Nigeria, I'm not going to leave and come back. It has to be like a permanent thing, Over time, I was just doing my research, trying to find out what are the possible ways, how can I migrate to another country, basically. And I think the discussion between you and I think it came up in like 2018.
Yes,
earlier than that, or maybe 2017 or something. Yeah, and so I haven't done my master's yet, and I decided that if I'm going to do my master's, I'm going to do it outside the country, and I'm not going to come back. That's why I didn't go to Jan, because I actually had the opportunity to do my master's in like England or something, but I was like, man, I don't want to go start, have like a whole year or two.
I don't want to go there.
Like outside Nigeria, enjoying the system over wherever it will be, and I'll say, oh, I'm done with my master's, I'm coming back. I'm like, no, fam, like I'm going to take my life easy, and make my decisions, no rush and all of that. And I also wanted to get my work experience out of the way before even doing any kind of grad school. So that's why I started working like after uni. Okay. So yeah.
So but wait, I want to ask you another question. Why were you disconnected from Nigeria? Like what did Nigeria do to you?
It's not like Nigeria did anything to me. Nigeria is Nigeria, and I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about. Nigeria is just Nigeria, The headache of being in that country, man. I don't want to talk bad about my country, but honestly, you guys know what I'm talking about. when I say Nigeria is Nigeria. So what about you?
Before I go into me again, I'm just gonna circle back. Okay. You said when we were in secondary school.
Like I said when I was in secondary school. Well, we and I are one.
We're not in secondary school together.
Okay.
So, but for me, it was kind of like the other side of the coin, because I really never thought about like leaving my country and going to start over in another country. Like I was happy with, around this 2017, 18, 2017 and 18, when we were having this discussion, I was really indifferent. Because I'm like, hey, my career is going fine here. I literally had everything I needed or wanted.
Sure.
And I was like, I could travel every time I wanted to travel to go for vacation and all of that. But my wife was like, she was my girlfriend then. She was like, look, this is a deal breaker for me.
And that's not what I said.
Say you cannot pack your bags and go. Leave me alone. I want a life in another country. So I started thinking about it, and I was like, hey, it's not that bad. Then my country being my country started giving me more reasons to think about it.
And it was so crazy because it felt like when we started, thinking about it, so many things were now happening around us to just push us in that direction that Nigeria is crazy. And you need to find how you're going to live, how you're going to jackpot, like we call it. So so basically, for you to be able to migrate from another country to Canada, there are some things and some requirements that you have to fulfill. So you have to do a language test. Canada's official languages are English and French, so you have to be able to prove that you can speak either one of them. Most of us go for English because So also you have to get your degree assessed. So whatever degree that you have, be it your bachelor's degree or your master's degree or your PhD, you have to assess it and it must be equal to a Canadian degree. There are bodies that will do that for you. And also your work experience, you have to have worked for at least a year. You know, you have to get reference letters to be able to prove that. So there's so many things to it, and people have been asking us about it.
Yeah, and that is why we have created an ebook which is going to be launching soon. If it hasn't launched when you're watching this, and it is a step-by-step guide on relocating to Canada from your country.
Yeah.
So this is what it looks like. You saw it here first. It's information packed with links and tips and all of that. So with this book, don't worry, you'll be sitting out here with us like in the
film. So we're gonna give you guys our PR story first, then we'll talk more about the book towards the end of the video. So guys, it was in 2018 that Olus and I decided that we are going to start working on our permanent residency application to Canada, that there is no going back. So the first thing we did was our educational credential assessment, which is also known as ECA. So if you hear me saying ECA in this video, that's what I mean. We said we're going to do the ECA first before the language test. For the language test, we did the IELTS. The language test lasts for like 2 years, while the educational credential assessment lasts for 5 years. So we're like, let's get this one done first, since it lasts longer. And also, the school I went to, they do usually waste your time.
Follow me to Unilag.
Yes. What happens in the ECA? So basically, you send your transcripts and your a photocopy of your degree or your certificate. Let's say you did your bachelor's degree now. So your school, you're going to go to your school or you do your application online, however your school says you should do it. You now tell them to send it to an institution that will look at your transcripts and analyze them and equate it to a Canadian degree. So for instance, now let's say I did my bachelor's degree in law. My transcripts were sent directly from the school to WES. We used WES because there are different bodies that I can use. There's WES, there's ICAS. So yeah,
I only know WES.
We only know WES. WES is World Education Services. So the school sends the transcripts to WES and they verified it and they said, okay, this bachelor's degree is equal to a bachelor's degree in Canada. So that's basically it. So I think I should give my experience first.
Yeah, give your experience. But before you say that, you said the school sends like your info to West. Make sure it's West Canada and not West America.
Yes, because there's West America and West Canada, and also make sure it's for the purpose of immigration because there's the educational version. Yes. So basically, so I went to Unilag and I studied law. Some of you may know, and I had to. God, in fact, that school, honestly, I don't even know what's up, and it's even like now. Getting your transcripts is even harder. It has always been hard, but now it's even harder. But luckily for me, I had a contact in Senate building who was going to help me do this. That time, getting your transcript wasn't online, but I think now Unilag is online. So I was always texting the guy on his neck, telling him that this is what I want to get done and how much is it, And see that how much? Let me just tell you. I think the overall budget for like our WES was like 60-something thousand each. Yeah, to get it done with the WES. Yes, and that's just one cost that you have to bear. Now, the cost between you and your school getting the transcripts over to the educational body is something else.
Different.
Yes. So for me, I did diploma, so I had to get my diploma transcripts, and then I also had to get my undergrad transcript as well, which is different. So I tried to see if I could reroute the diploma transcript first to the Senate building so that they'll send all the documents together at once, But then this guy that was doing it for me just got the undergrad transcript and he sent it straight. He didn't even include my the photocopy of my degree inside. Like, I don't even understand. So that one, I'm telling you, so I had to pay courier fee for that. Then I also had to pay another courier fee for the diploma transcript to get them. Like, the incompetence of Unilag is something else, honestly. So it involved me. So that time I was working, and I think I resumed office by like 9. I was working on the island and I lived on the island, and then Unilag is in Yaba. So imagine me having to wake up at 7 a.m. and first drive to Yaba to go and beg them that please answer me before I now get back to work, hoping and praying that my boss will not have gotten there so that she will not ask me where I was. So the struggle was real, honestly, and I was like, man, whatever it takes, I'm going to get this thing done, So I think we applied for this in May 2018.
Yeah.
We sent all our stuff around that period, and I think we got it like in August. So by August 2018, they had already done the credential assessment. But like that whole Unilag part, I think I went there like 5 times to try to get this thing done. There was a lot of begging involved. There was a lot of sorting involved. There was endless cost involved. Like imagine having to pay 20,000 like 2 times just for DHL to send this thing. Guy, like it was so stressful. I didn't even know. Like I didn't want to think about it. But basically, that's what you're going to do. Like your school sends the transcript directly. It's not you. It's your school that send because they're going to sign and write and stamp on it. So it's your school that's going to send directly to the evaluation body that will now do whatever they want to do on their end. So give us your own story. I think your own was more eventful than my own.
Was it? My own? Well, yes. Because I went to Babcock University. They have some crazy shit going on there too. So, yeah, I think I had to take a day off from work. Then I drove about like 2 hours from Lagos to Ilishan just to get this thing done. I went in the morning very early. Then I went to the registry. Registry holds the transcripts and they do all the filing and all of that. Then when I got to the registry, I think they first make you pay like alumni fee. So you pay like the backlog of whenever you paid last. Like if it was when you graduated 10 years ago, you pay whatever amount it is now times the 10 years. Do you get? So it was crazy. I think I had like a few years outstanding because I had paid when I came to collect my certificate or something like that. I'd already collected my certificate, so in my mind everything was, speak and span, all done and dusted. Only for them to now tell me that I had was it a missing result or something stupid? Either it was missing or it was a fail in something, but it was basically not a course. So if you are familiar with like Babcock or other universities like that, they have like this citizenship grade that they do for behavior. So if you went to church, if you missed attendance, it could affect that citizenship grade. If you had any outstanding issues with the hall, maybe you didn't get like maybe you did something bad in the hall, for instance, or you had a case pending, do you understand, to affect your citizenship grade. So in my hall now, we used to do a lot of things, but like we all had good like citizenship grades at the end of the day, and I even collected like
is a citizenship grade?
Bro, they give us like demerits and stuff like that. For instance, there was an incident where I was involved in, and some boys removed like the microwave from wherever I was in the school, you understand? So it was like a school case. Do you understand? It was like so they can give you a demerit for that. That's like a case. If you miss church and maybe they catch you hiding during church service, it's a case. Do you understand? So but me, I didn't have any case, so I was sure of that thing. But for some reason, I don't know what happened. The guy that was in charge messed it up and all of that. So I now had to start running around to go and get that sorted, to get that grade in. Then luckily for me, my twin brother's mother.
Your twin brother?
Yeah. So she worked in the school, so I just went to meet her. I was like, Mommy, look at what's happening. They said I don't have this grade, I don't have it. So she took me to meet the man. Luckily for me, the guy was around too, or somebody else that was on it. So they now had to start looking for that result. They now found it, then they put it. So I had already spent like 2 or 3 hours basically just running around like a headless chicken. You get? So I did that. I paid the alumni fees, and I went back to the registry. Then they said I had to go and do that. We had like THL kiosks in school, which was new because when I was in school we didn't have those kiosks there. So they try and make it easy. I think there's been demand for that for people going to further their studies and all of that. So I think in total I spent about 30-something thousand naira. So, but it was kind of seamless from there on because I just had to tell the girl, they had to prepare it, so they couldn't do it on the spot. They had to prepare the transcripts and the degree and the envelope. I left the instruction, address it to this place, West Canada, stamp and sign over the seal. Yeah, you literally will have to stand over them and ensure that it gets everything right. Yeah, but these tips are in our book, Jackpot 101. Yeah, so the complete location guide, I'm taking it from the book here. Yeah. So I had to now liaise with that babe. I gave her an extra tip, and I told her, please, when this thing is ready, you're the one. She's DHL, representative. Yeah, so she's the one that they will give it to now mail. So I just told her, let me check that everything is good, package it nicely, give me updates and all of that. And I went back to my Lagos, and like the next day she sent me pictures that this is it. And one time we went.
Yes, I think we did this around. May, like I said.
Yeah, May 2018.
Yeah, so we're able to get like the ECA done by August. So we had that out of the way. Yeah. So the next thing that we got up to was our language tests.
IELTS.
IELTS, yes, whatever.
IELTS.
International English Language Testing System.
You know, I don't know. I don't know the full meaning.
You don't know the full meaning. You wrote the exam.
First time.
Wow. So many people have been asking us about this thing that, oh, do they have to write it? If you want to come to Canada as PR, you cannot escape.
You're gonna write it.
You're gonna write it. Let me tell you. Yeah. But honestly, I don't think it's that difficult or that stressful, to be honest. But yeah, okay. So we did ours in, I think 2018. Yeah, November 2018. Yeah, we did ours in November 2018. Yeah, I think there are like 2 bodies in Nigeria that do this thing. From what I know,
from then there were only 2 authorized.
Yeah, so there's MOD and there's British Council, and at that time, MOD was cheaper than British Council, but like 2K or something. No, or like 5K or something.
So MOD was like 68.5 ish, and British Council was either 70 or 75K.
And that was like 2K.
So if it's 68 to 75,
so that was like 5. You said 70 or 75.
If it was 75, uncle.
Anyway, all I know is that look, everybody was cheaper, and we're like, we're going for the cheaper one. Yeah, so people were like, oh, they prefer British Council.
That the environment, maybe they write the exam inside air condition.
I don't know, but we did ours on the island, and it was okay for us.
Yeah, it was in a school in Lekki.
It was in a school in Lekki, yeah. So this is something that you guys have to do. But let me just give you guys a tip, which you also find in our book, yeah. One thing about the IELTS exam is that you need to practice. Like, you cannot escape it. Yes, we speak English on a daily, but if you go into that examination hall without even practicing, you're gone. Let me tell you, you're gonna flunk it. Yeah. So this exam is divided into
4. Yeah.
Into 4.
Reading, writing, speaking, and listening.
Yes.
Yeah. And basically, there's a lot of reasoning that goes into it. So it's not just about the language; it's about being able to comprehend and deduce information that you get. Yes. So it can be tricky.
So we scored 8.
8
in each. We kind of got the same thing, to be honest. Yeah. So I think we got like 8, 8.5, 7.5, and 8. Okay, yeah. I can't even remember what it was,
but you need to pass everything, as in just try hard. Like, speaking might be the easiest because they might just tell you to talk about an experience or something. Yeah.
Okay, so let's just run through the different sections. Okay, so like I said, first of all, before you go into the examination hall, please, you need to practice. So we have like some resources as well that come with this book that you can use to practice for the exam. And when we mean practice, we don't mean just read it and say, okay, I've seen what the questions are like. What we did and what worked for us was that we actually printed out these papers and simulated the exam. And then what happens for the speaking test, for example, is an interview. They just ask you, they can ask you, what's your favorite food? What do you like about it? Do you get? So we tried to interview ourselves. We sat down on the table and chair, and we mimicked the whole thing. And then we also timed ourselves, wrote the exam, wrote essays, fill in the gap, all those kind of things. So we have materials that you guys can use to practice. But that's basically.
I think you background once when we were practicing this weekend. Yeah.
That's a lie.
Yeah, keep sharing.
No biggie. This is why you have to practice. So for the speaking test, so somebody is going to interview you. Like I said, they're just going to ask you what's your name.
Tell me about the happiest day of your life. Like, just be something that's basic, but you have to go on talking for about like 2 or 3 minutes or so.
Yeah, and they always say things like, try to use idioms, make sure you enunciate your words properly, don't rush, take your time, So I think what happened, I can't even remember what they even asked me. Do you remember what they asked you?
I can't really remember, but I know that guy didn't like me, because I don't know how I got 7.5 in speaking.
I always speaking pidgin.
That guy didn't like me. No, when I'm on my game. You guys spoke to that guy, spoke Queen's English to him. Yeah. But he just didn't get it.
Well, it happens.
Yeah, I can't remember what they asked me. It was about an experience.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe they asked me the happiest day of my life, but I don't think they asked me that. No, I don't think so. I can't remember. But they're just going to ask you some random question, but you need to just let them know that you are thinking, you are in command of this language at the end of the day. Like, the language is not stressing you for it to come out of your mouth.
Yeah, and the English is usually done on like a different day from the rest then
That was
try not to
speaking.
stutter too and all of that. So I think maybe my own, I don't know, maybe I rambled a bit. Maybe that's why I got 7.5. So try not to ramble. Why they speak English now?
With teaching. Anyway, so the next is the writing. Yeah. So the writing, it involves you writing an essay.
Basically. It's composition.
You remember those ones I used to do in secondary school? That they would say, what's your best food? Yeah. So you gotta write a whole essay.
It's like the speaking, but in written format.
Yeah, and I remember what they asked us.
What they asked?
I think they asked us about, okay, so I think one of the questions was that you should write a letter to the boss. I think in your office, you want to host a party, and you should write a letter to the boss telling them what you need.
What you need for the party.
Yeah, what's you need for the party. So yeah, I remember. But my own concern for my writing test was my handwriting. My handwriting is terrible, it's bad. So I was already
it's not
afraid.
That bad, sweetie.
I know you love me, but let's call a spade a spade.
Oh, anyway.
My handwriting is bad, so I really tried to. That's why I practice, because I needed to know that in that span of time I could take my time and write this thing. So they'll tell you like in 350 words, in 500 words, so you have to know that you can write everything in that amount of time. So make sure that your handwriting is legible and clear. So I think that's the one I got 7.5 in. Is it not my writing? I think it was my writing, yeah.
We know how to throw off his party. So it came naturally to me. I'm like, boss, we need 2 cartons of champagne.
I beg. So yeah, you have to, and you just go over what you write, I think you can cancel and...
Do we use a pencil?
I think we use the pencil. So you can erase, you can correct yourself, so please. But I don't know what is going on right now, but just make sure you take your time and make sure you do the normal introduction, body, conclusion, that type of stuff. Everything you learn in English language secondary school, please apply it.
What counts too. Then since it was like was it a formal letter?
Was it formal letter?
So the whole letter, addressing your boss, the header with the underline and all of that.
Everything. So and then what next? So we've talked about speaking,
writing, listening. Listening was the hurdle, guy.
Listening, oh my god!
Because it's not just listening, like it's listening and thinking to answer back.
Exactly. And first of all, like the listening, so they're gonna play you audio files.
Yeah, they'll give you
and you
like
have to answer questions based on those audio files, and they come in different accents. It could be an Irishman, it could be a Chinese guy. So don't think it's normal Nigerian English or whatever. Like it could be any accent. So you have to pay attention to what you're listening to. Yeah,
and it's like a live stream, so once it goes out, like everybody's listening to the same thing at the same time. You cannot say you have to have heard and look at the question then answer.
So I think the gag about that listening here was that, so this is why I say it again, please practice this exam. So if you don't want any surprises on that day, please practice. So there are different like sections of the listening exam. So I think you have to fill in the gap or something. So they ask you questions and they'll say based on, let's say someone said I like a brown box, and they'll say what's the color of the box this person said like, and you're gonna write brown. So there was one portion of that listening exercise that was crazy.
That one I can never forget.
So they're gonna ask you, okay, they're gonna put like a diagram and they say you are in this place. The football field is adjacent to the office. Wait.
Let me explain this one because this thing traumatized me.
Okay.
Like they're gonna give you a floor plan. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Then they mark each room. So let's say this is the garage. They mark it X. No, they mark it garage. This is the entry. They mark it entry. Yeah. Then there are some rooms that they don't mark. They just write X, B, C. They now say, oh, okay. So I just came in from the garage. So you look at the garage in the diagram. I'm going to the room adjacent me next. They'll now say which room is the one adjacent to the garage. So I know we know opposite, but adjacent now.
Me, and do you know what's so crazy? Because me, I have no sense of direction. All those north, west, east, I don't know. So I was like, thank God I practiced this thing. Do you know how bad it was for me? Like that portion of the exam. When you said that you've calculated everything, this exam, this is over 20. I must get 18 questions correct. I've dedicated these 2. I know I'm going to fail these 2. So the remaining 18, I must get that. So I was just like, man, like when it got to that, because I think they'll give you time to run over all the
They'll give you
questions.
time, yeah.
So when it got to like that part, I was like, man, let me make sure that all these other answers are correct, because I knew that all those are just saying I was not going to get it. I was not going to get it. So I just gave up on that side because.
Why? No. They'll say,
Yeah.
walk all the way down the hall.
Yeah.
The second left door, go in.
Across.
Then next across to the board, what do we have there?
No.
You could just look and say.
So that's another thing. So because we practiced,
But we did well in
we did well. We got like
enough,
8 or so. Yeah. So because we practiced, we're able to identify our weak points in the exam beforehand. So we knew, okay, we need to make up for this in another section. That kind of.
And there was another bit in that one that had something about dozen scores. Can you remember?
I can't remember.
Like they might ask the baker brought or the farmer brought a dozen score of eggs. They will not ask you how many and you're like, bro, it doesn't score.
It's not just English, it's logic too. Let me tell you, don't let them fool you. Yes,
if you know, you
learn your quantitative.
Just be sharp.
So the last section is the reading,
yeah.
which is the
comprehension bit.
Yeah, so that one too.
They'll give you passages.
Give you passage, and they'll say answer question based on this passage. So how I used to answer those questions back then was that I would first read the questions first before I now read the passage.
You didn't tell me this technique when we were practicing.
I told you now.
You didn't tell me.
Come on.
But it's all good.
Because it may not work for everyone. Yeah, but how that works for me is that when I'm reading the passage, I already know what I'm looking for. So the questions are like, for instance, I know that the first question, you probably find the answer in the first paragraph. Do you get? The second question is probably in between the first and the second paragraph. So you know that it's chronological like that. So I already know that I'm reading these first two questions and I know that this answer must be here and I'll find it. Do you get that kind of thing? So you had to, within that span of time, be able to comprehend everything and answer those questions. Yeah, so it was so crazy, Sha. And
I enjoyed that bit though. Yeah.
I enjoyed that because I always
mostly like deductive reasoning too and all of that.
It wasn't that one. That one wasn't so bad.
Sometimes I use like elimination for those ones. Like I know A, B, and C are definitely not the answer, so I first take them out, then I now reread the answer and I'm like, this makes sense. Because there were some answers that were close to each other.
Yes, that always happens.
Like they tried to confuse you. Really close answers.
This is not English. It's reasoning. It's logic. So I think what happened on that examination day itself. So I think they separated you and I.
They did, yeah.
I was here and then there was somebody else in front of me and then there was Olus.
Wait, should we start talking about what happened on this exam day?
Yeah, let's
You know the first thing that happened?
Yeah, what happened?
We got there very early. They didn't allow us in.
Which is another thing. Just get there early, yeah.
Then they'll say you shouldn't bring phones or anything. So I think the only thing I had on me was my car key, which I'm not even sure. Maybe we still turned it in. They tagged it, yeah. They tagged it. So you're not meant to have anything at all. Would they give you the writing material?
Yeah, I think they gave you the writing material because they don't want anybody to be compromised. So just come by yourself.
So the first thing that actually happened was that we queued. We had to come with our international passports for identification. We queued, then we now sat down. Everybody was sitting in there. Then we just started talking to each other while they were still trying to get themselves together because we're early. And next thing I was hearing was that, this is my 9th time of writing. Oh, I don't write them 13 times. Oh, this is my 3rd time. And I was like, God, all the confidence I brought. The confidence, they started cutting the confidence. They're like, bro, this is your first one. So don't worry, maybe by the 3rd time you get it. I said, bro.
I don't know why it's so crazy because, like you said, we came with confidence. And I'm like, I don't write
English.
See, when I was in secondary school, ask anybody, I want best in English literature. I studied law. So I'm like, English cannot be my problem. By the grace of God, at least, you get. But when we got there, we were like, don't worry now. 3 times, 5 times. When I even had like 18 times,
bro,
I was just like
the 18 one when I had that one, bro. I was humbled.
I was humbled.
I was like, God, it's me and you.
Jesus. I started calling on my Father, my Lord in heaven. Man. So it was so crazy because that now kind of made us nervous because it wasn't. It wasn't.
You don't feel like
we weren't as nervous when we started hearing those things on my anxiety.
Then it's also fun because you see people that you're likely to run to people that you didn't know were planning to relocate to writing the exam, and you're like, bros.
I think you saw your neighbor.
I saw my neighbor, I saw my neighbor, and I was like, bros, he's in Manitoba now, by the way.
Yeah. So
then after that, they started filing us in, scattered us. The spacing was crazy. Anyway, we didn't plan to cheat, so if you like scatter us. But I was trying to sit close to her though, but I think someone got
just for morale sake, And then during the exam, guys, was, we heard. I don't think you heard.
I didn't hear.
But right behind me, there was some people who were like, bros, how far?
For
my
it?
team.
Yeah.
It took me back to jam days.
No way.
I was just like, no, I don't write my thing.
I had my head buried in my work.
Yeah, because for an exam like that, the last thing that I want to use to distract me is anybody cheating or asking me anything. So we just needed to concentrate fully.
People that you don't even know from anywhere.
Exactly.
After paying 68,500, I beg. Even when secondary school, I know that we will meet in the hall and I'll beg you for Siri later. Fine, but come on.
So I think so we wrote this in November. It was that same November that we got our results.
How many hours was the 3 exams? It was like 4 hours plus. Because we finished
it took our whole day.
Yeah.
Basically.
Make sure you eat before you go. Hunger.
Just be ready, and there could be delays.
Yeah.
They'll say this exam starts by 9. 1 or 2 things will happen. It starts by 11. So just be ready. Just clear your whole day.
Yeah. Then even that listening, they have to test the audio that everybody is hearing, streaming.
Some people, I think maybe the exam had finished. They said they not hear anything.
Some people scrambled while they were doing it. So pray to whoever you pray to.
Exactly, that they should come through for you. So so we got the results. I think you had traveled.
Yeah, I was in Abuja.
Yeah, you were in Abuja when we got the results. Me, that day was a Friday. I was on my way out to turn up. Shay just said, sis, our results are out,
man.
Bro! And I was in the Uber just on my way out to meet my friend, and I was just checking it out. I think at first I was even putting the wrong thing.
Yeah,
wrong number. I didn't get the results out, and it's like my own result is not out. Oh, hey, Jesus! But we shall check, and glory be to God.
Yeah, it came through.
I
mean, I was on a work trip, but in the middle, I said, "Please hold on, I beg." I checked my results. I was afraid. I saw that 8. I was like,
Woo! I was so glad, honestly.
Yeah.